Hello class, let's work on design tables. One caveat for working on design tables, we need to have Microsoft Excel installed on your system because SolidWorks actually links to an Excel file. So technically you need Microsoft Excel for the design table to work. So I just created this part, and actually following my own advice after I did the first example in the actual pages, I created just a rectangle with a length and a width, and then a diametric hole, a through hole, to separate. So I have two different variables. I have basically two features. One's the first extrusion, and the next is actually creating a hole. That way I can show you some other features of suppressing certain things later on. But okay, once you have the part, technically, let's go do like we normally do. Show dimension features and make sure the names are shown. And let's rename these. Once again, it's always easier to work with. Let's say this is length. Oh, same thing goes for width. I actually constrained this to a center line. The hole is on a center line, but I have an actual depth. So this is hole location. Along center. Oh, all these crazy long names. So at least I have some rudimentary stuff. Actually, let's go. I'm going to rename this one as depth. So having everything renamed, in order to, let me see, let's get a rebuild. Multiple ways to start your design table. One is tools, actually insert tables, goes down to design table. That's one. I have up here the actual tables toolbar, and it's easy just to select here, design table. Select this, and wait. Now you'll see here the design table, I guess, pop up, or the tool actually opens up, and it gives you your sources here. You can open up a blank one, a auto create, or from a file if you had previously created one. You could save it and then pull it into this part as a file. You can also link to a file. So when you say from a file, you can link to a file, an external Excel file, and every time you update that file, it'll automatically update the part. Or like I say, you can just import one that'll be associated with this. And then down here, say edit control, allow model edits to update the design table. I usually have this one selected rather than block model edits. This way, if you you will create design configurations, and if you didn't have that selected, every time you do a update in the one configuration, if I had block model edits, that would update the design configuration. It wouldn't automatically give you the option in the design table to update. So when you do a change in the model, it'll update to the design table. Add new columns. Under your options, you have your new parameters, new configurations, warn when using, when updating design table, and enable cell drop-down lists. I just keep these all selected. Add new columns in design table for new parameters and configurations. That's when you add anything new, it'll automatically, basically, and when we say warn, it'll give you a warning, say, hey, this is added, and it'll update. So first I'm going to go over the auto create. Since we already changed all of our dimensions, remember, oh, by the way, yeah, if you forgot about configurations are just taking one part, and it's kind of like what we did previously with the equations table, where the equation that allows you to select just one individual equation, or just change variables within one part at one at a time or individually, but in the equation table. This will allow you to create multiple kind of like equations for the dimensions, multiple different configurations. So let's say I wanted to create this part, but instead of creating, I want like 4 variations of it. I want one of this length, I want a longer one, I want a shorter one, I want one with a bigger hole. I could create design configurations, and each of those configurations, rename them and then change the variables. So each of those configurations I can just click on and it'll automatically update the part to that configuration. So let's go over this example real quick. First select OK. Now give it a second. It takes, since it's linking to an Excel. Now notice how this pops up in the Excel. It's actually, let me pull it over a little bit. Oops. Yeah, see, it's like you think your computer's locked up, but it's not. It's the reason being there. It's asking me for something. Let's see if I can get this. How do I get this out of the way? But yeah, I can't get out of the way, so I have to actually select down here. I'd like to show you, but it doesn't allow me to drag it over. If you heard that, so select on SolidWorks. See, behind that, this is going on. It's picking out when I did the autocreate. It's picking out of the dimensions that I have in here, and look, since I already named them, I know which ones. And let's say I want to make variations in length and width. I'm going to keep the depth. So in order to have those added, what you can't see over here, let's see, actually, nope, can't. Right now, if I'm looking at the other side of the Excel table, which doesn't allow me to drag it over, but right now there's nothing except in the first row, it's the name of the part, and it says design table for : part 2 for videos, which is the name of this part. And then second row is blank, or second column, yeah, row is blank. The third column says first instance. Since I don't have any instances yet, I don't have any configurations. But here, when this pops up, I'm just going to select. In order to select, you have to hit Control button and highlight it. This will give me these two, length and width, because I want to create configurations with a length and a width. Hit OK. This sometimes failed to launch server applications. Sometimes that pops up, but I haven't seen it really doing anything. Now I can pull over this. Let me minimize. Oh, let me pull over the Excel file. Oops. It makes it super huge. So this is your design table. So when I selected those two, it automatically populated it for me. Let's say, does this one allow me to add more? Let's see, location, whole location. No, it doesn't. So the auto create, I selected those two, and this is the second column. This is where your dimensions or your features will pop up. I recommend type in family. That way, if you ever need to modify this, this is the I guess the family function. This is where all of your dimensions and your features will be featured on row 2. I'll go on how to modify the charts after that. But now notice how there is currently the default setting. Now if I want to add more, basically in your column A would be the name. Add another let's say configuration. Let's say I want to make this a long version, and I want a short version. Now I can just add in the variables here. Okay, the long one, let's say I want to be 300, and I can either keep the 100 width, or I can, let's say, as I make it longer, I can make it a function of the width. So let's say, if I want to, I can go equals that, let's say, plus 50. That gives me a value. That makes it super wide. Or I could just, like I say, punch in the value. Or since it's Excel, I can actually drag down, create the same value. Now, a short one, let's say I want it to be 100. And let's say I want it to be not as thick, let's say 75. Now, I know the book always says, all you do is click anywhere in here and it'll automatically update. Never seems to work for me. So what I do, double check, hit Control S when I'm in there. When over here, hit Control S, save your part. And this is when, the first time you create a design table, it'll tell you, this design table generated the following configurations, long and short. And that's what I did in that. Rebuild and save documents recommended. So now, oh, I accidentally clicked on this. If you click on a dimension that is in your design table, it'll give you this warning: change the property update. It will update the corresponding cell in the design table. And just be aware, if I were to click and modify this, next time I open up the design table, it'll update the design table also. So that's what I accidentally. And notice how, let me just click on this. Dimensions I have in my design table now are pink. We didn't add the whole location to the design table, nor the depth, but the length and the width are part of the design table, so they show up pink. That alerts you that those two dimensions are linked to a design table. Now, in order to change your configuration, come over here to design tables. I have the original default. That's what we originally constructed. Then now I have long. If you want to select the long, when I select this, what we changed to 300, you'll see it grow longer. Just hover over the X, and also you notice the design table has a little Excel figure there. So double click on the X, and it creates that configuration. Double click again. For short, creates that configuration. So overall, that is how you create a design table with the auto create feature selected.